Hi, welcome to Saddleback's video sessions on the phases of parenting. My name's Sean Hyde, and I'm a children's pastor at Saddleback Church and the parent of two boys, Braden, age 2, and Beckham, age 5. In case this happens to be the first on-track parenting session you're participating in, let me remind you of what we defined as the ultimate purpose of parenting. The purpose of parenting is to raise children to be interdependent, lifelong followers of Jesus who desire to make a kingdom contribution. Now, if you feel a bit intimidated by that statement, you're in good company. I myself have 5 years of parenting under my belt and 15 years of children's ministry experience, yet I must confess, I don't have all the answers for you as it relates to this crucial phase in the parenting journey. However, I've gained some valuable insights from my wins and losses that I hope can help you on your own journey. Over the next few minutes, I want to share some reminders to hold on to through the sleepless nights, during the days when it feels like there's no end, and in those moments that you may think, what in the world have I gotten myself into? By the way, what in the world have you gotten yourself into? Well, what you've gotten yourself into is a relationship, and like all relationships, they require great care, much intentionality, and a whole lot of grace. Psychologist Erik Erikson has identified 8 stages in his theory of development. 4 of these development stages are taking shape in the minds of your children during this first phase of their lives, the phase from birth to kindergarten. In the first stage, during year 1 of their life, children are developing the foundations of hope on a very basic level as they form the basics of mistrust or trust. Now, this stage is all about your child developing a sense of trust about the world. As your child's parent in this phase, you are providing them with a reason to trust you as you tirelessly meet their very basic needs. They are learning that because they can rely on you as you meet their needs, they can trust you, and that trust is the building block necessary for their capacity to acquire hope. Now, in the second stage, beginning at around age 2, they are developing the ability to exercise their will as they take cautious steps towards independence, while at the same time being introduced to the feelings of shame or doubt. They are answering the question, can I do things myself, or do I need to rely on others? They are beginning to express the need for independence and control over themselves and the world around them. Now, when I take my 2-year-old Braden to Trader Joe's, he makes sure to grab the kids' shopping cart that they provide so he can do his own grocery shopping. This can, of course, be frustrating when I'm in a hurry to get the food I need to get dinner going, but it's an important phase in me helping Braden feel secure and confident. If we allow our own need to hurry dominate our child's desire to make decisions independent of us, our children can be left with a sense of inadequacy and self-doubt. Now, in the third stage, around age 3 to 4, they are developing their sense of purpose as they learn to take the initiative to energetically do things and follow through with them. This takes place through play and social interactions. If a child is unable to foster the ability to take initiative on their own, they will likely come face to face with self-doubt or guilt as they fail to engage a task. As you parent your child in this phase, celebrate and encourage them to take initiative, to engage in play and pretending at home or as they run around the park with other kids. Finally, this brings us to the 4th stage that begins around age 5, which begins the early stages of the development of their competency. Their competency is taking shape as they begin to exercise their learning industry while at the same time tasting the ugliness of feeling inferior to others. As your child is encouraged at school and home while learning new abilities and skills, they are able to develop a sense of pride, confidence, and belief in what they have learned and accomplished. Your encouragement and praise when they bring home something they learned to do at school develops into a feeling of competence, or in other words, I got this, I can do this. Now, hope, will, purpose, and competency are all ultimately influenced by your child's experiences in these early years. Science tells us that experiences we have in the earliest years of our life affect the physical architecture of the developing brain. Brains are not just born, but they are built over time based on our experience. It's science. Thus, when a child gains enough positive experiences in these early and critical years, a child will have the best chance to be set on a course to live in a productive life and to truly make a positive impact in the world. On the other hand, create enough toxic experiences for a child in the early years, and that child may be handicapped and struggle to thrive into adulthood. A child's experiences, both positive and negative, will literally develop the foundation on which their lives will function as adults. Now, you may be thinking, so if I do say or expose my child to a negative experience, they could likely be affected by it for the rest of their lives. Yes, exactly. Now, I know that can seem overwhelming, but have you had some missteps along the way and created some bad experiences for your child? Well, trust me, again, you're in good company. We all have. You're going to fall short along the way. However, don't be too hard on yourself. Show yourself grace and do your best to continue to be present and unhurried. These early years of parenting are tough. The days of using your time and your energy to do whatever you wanted to are long gone. Another little human being now determines how you spend your time and your energy. They are completely and totally reliant upon you. You now measure your productivity not in the many meetings or in how many meetings you've conducted in the week, or maybe how many dinner parties you've hosted in a month, but by how many loads of laundry you did this week, or how many times you picked up the kids' room in a day. In this first phase of parenting, the role you play in your child's life is that you are their caregiver. I don't know about you, but this phase can often leave you feeling like your life management skills have gone out to pasture. Let's be honest, being a caregiver to 1, 2, 3 kids under the age of 5 is hard. It can leave you feeling that you are doing more than surviving than you are thriving. The vast majority of your time and energy is now invested not only in ensuring your child's every single physical need is met above your own, but also in laying a foundation to help your child grow towards emotional, mental, and spiritual health. But would you change it even for a second? I don't think so. From the time you hold your child in your arms for the first time to when they complete kindergarten, a mind-blowing transformation unfolds that you get a front row seat to behold. In this phase, it seems like your phone is never too far away to ensure that you capture all those first moments, right? Between the first coos, first smile, first words, first crawl, and first steps, to the first day of kindergarten, counting to 100 and reading on their own is you. And it's you who God has strategically positioned to not just capture your child's milestones for their baby book, but to provide them with their firsts. Friends, God chose you to be the parent of your child in order to provide them with their first experience of affection, expressed through all those snuggles, those face kisses, and the I love yous that you tell them. Their first experience of comfort and safety, shown when they are frightened from a bad dream, a scrape to their knee, or when they get embarrassed or even made fun of. You're providing them with their first experience of correction done in love when they make the bad choice. You're providing them with their first experience of being shown grace and also patience in the midst of those bad choices. Now, as your child's caregiver, you are the first person to provide the foundational experiences your child will need to successfully launch them into life. So, as you continue to navigate this phase, I want to give you 3 goals to focus on and to be intentional about incorporating into your parenting strategy. As was discussed in the introduction session, we need to understand and appreciate these phases and adjust our strategy accordingly because they really do go by fast. First, provide your child with a sense of security. One of the fundamental questions that we ask in life is, will I be safe? We've built entire industries and processes around the issue of our safety and security. We desire physical security, we desire emotional security, and financial security, just to name a few. The desire for our safety and security will always remain a basic need throughout our lives. Your child's safety and security is a priority you naturally incorporate into the daily life of your child. During this phase, we go above and beyond to ensure our kids are living in a secure and safe environment. Child locks, latches, and gates are now standard features around the house to keep physical injuries at bay. Now, ensuring our kids' physical safety and security is a vital role that we play as a parent. However, on a deeper level, it's just as vital to create an environment for them in which our kids feel emotionally secure. They need to know that they're safe to feel the full range of their feelings and be loved and accepted all the while. The lack of emotional security in a child is a root cause to many bad behavioral issues that they display. Now, when a child feels emotionally secure, on the other hand, they are free to develop into a healthy and ultimately thriving young person. Here's your second goal. Help your child to learn to trust you and the other authority figures in their lives. The key ingredient in developing trust is ultimately dependability. The ability to trust starts with being able to answer the question, can I depend on you? If we can depend on someone, then we can trust them. Your child's ability to trust, of course, starts with you. Your child naturally trusts you because they naturally depend on you. When they're hungry, they know they can come to you to get fed. When they need a diaper change, they know you're going to change it. When they're afraid, they know they can come to you and you will comfort them. The list goes on and on. As you continue to show up each day in your child's life and you meet their basic needs, the result is that they will trust you. This is the foundation on which you will continue to build upon. As your child continues to step into new and uncertain territory, simply continue to be present and be dependable. The beautiful reality about kids who have caregivers whom they can depend on is that they will naturally trust everyone. I mean, why shouldn't they? They have no reason to not trust, right? Well, not yet, at least. Their giving of trust will be further challenged as they are intentionally or maybe unintentionally exposed to some of the realities of the brokenness in our world. However, the key in this phase is to help them understand that dependability is the key to trust. The ultimate goal of helping our children develop the ability to trust is that they see that they have a heavenly Father whom they can depend on and therefore trust no matter what. Here's the third goal. Help your child feel loved. Keep in mind, I didn't say know they are loved. I said feel that they are loved. This seems like a given, right? I mean, as a parent, I can't imagine not helping my child feel like they're loved. That's just what we do as parents. Now, most of the time, they make it easy, at least when they're not being defiant, which my kids honestly never are. I'm lying. We know that love is more than a feeling, right? It's a choice that we make. However, the way to your child's mind is through their heart. In order for your child to know that they're loved, they first need to connect that knowledge to the feeling and emotion of the love you express towards them. As a parent, our job is to ensure that they feel the emotion of love always. And in fact, this is the building block of the two goals we just talked about, their emotional security and their trust in you and others. Here's one way that this can practically play out: discipline. Discipline is one of the most powerful opportunities that we have as parents to help our kids feel loved. We discipline our kids because we love them enough to correct them and to point them to the better way. You may not be feeling the love towards them in that moment, but it's vital that they feel loved by you. Now, every child is different, and that means the form of discipline and correction will look different for every child. Yet the heart behind it, it must be the same. And that heart is love. How can we achieve this? Here's a couple of things to consider. Don't discipline while your emotions are hot. And if they are hot, do your very best to mask them. Now, then after you discipline your child, pull them in close, hold them, and tell them how much you love them. Friends, when your child feels that they are loved, they will then know that they are loved. Finally, and let me throw in a spiritual goal for free. Let your child see your faith. You are the single most important influence in your child's life. And as that influencer, it's important to stay focused on what really matters. The Bible says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Deuteronomy 6:5. A wise and trusted leader, Moses, once told a group of parents, aunts, uncles, singles, and grandparents that the most important thing to pass on to every child is a relationship with God. He wanted them to show their children how to love God with all their hearts. And it's the same for us. We need to show our children how to love God with all of their hearts. Now, maybe you feel a bit anxious because you're not sure what that even looks like. But it's not as hard as you might think. Moses is simply encouraging parents to make faith a part of their everyday lives. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is to incorporate your faith into what you're already doing each week. Maybe that's during bath time, or when you're driving in the car, or when you're coloring together. Wherever you may find yourself with your child, look for an opportunity to be intentional about discussing your faith with your child. You, parent, have the most influence over who your child will become. But don't get overwhelmed. When Moses explained the strategy, he was challenging the entire nation of Israel to influence the next generation. He was saying that you don't have to do this alone. That's why the church can and should play a role in your children's spiritual formation. As a church, we are here to link arms with you as you engage in the single greatest privilege that we have as parents, to raise your child to have a faith of their own. Our commitment to you is to create consistent and relevant environments for your child to grow in their relationship with God. We are truly in this together. In closing, remember that parenting in this phase should not be seen as a sprint to get out of the phase as quickly as possible and into the next, even though we're in the midst of some really hard days. Instead, recognize that this phase is a series of moments that you will never get back, that will require you to be intentionally present in order to give your child the best opportunity to be every bit of the person God created and designed them to be. Be sure to download the reflection questions to use on your own with your spouse or partner or in your small group.